4, 3, 2, 1. We're good.
Good to go, Alex?
Good to go.
All right.
We're back.
Happy Friday, guys. Happy Friday. Hope y'all had a good week. Thanks for tuning in. I know some of you messaged me earlier today and said that you would try to make time to tune in to participate in our conversation tonight, and I just want to take the opportunity to say thank you. We all of us appreciate your support, and keep it coming.
Yeah.
What's up, Brian?
What's up, man? Good to see you.
How's it
Good
going?
to be back. Good to be back.
Yeah, it's been a long week. Has it been a long week?
Yeah. It's been a. Actually, I'll tell you what. It's a lot smoother than last week's, but it's been busy.
Yeah.
Busy.
Did you work today?
No, I didn't work. Well, other stuff.
Yeah.
Other stuff. Keep it on the low.
A lot of people had today off because
today's Good Friday. So
it's a state holiday for Texas,
Mhm.
and Texas is like one of the there are less than a dozen of states who
that celebrate
have today as their official state holiday.
Yeah, I think it's under 10 states.
Yeah,
If I remember.
yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, that's good. What about you, Alex? How was your week?
It kind of dragged this week, man. I'm not gonna lie.
Why? What
It
happened?
just felt slow. I
Just
don't know.
too much work?
No, work
Not-
wasn't even like crazy this week. It was just been a long week, I guess.
Yeah. Does that have anything to do with the fact that you're waiting for your car repair to be done?
That's part of it. That's probably part of it.
Yeah.
That's probably the whole reason it felt.
Yeah,
slow,
because
is I'm
you
waiting
spend
on
the
my-
whole week feeling anxious, right?
Not anxious. I'm just like, give me my van back, man. It's been at the dealership for like 2 weeks now.
Yeah, it's a long time. So how much longer do you have to wait?
They said next week, but
Next week.
you know how they
Keep your fingers crossed.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's an estimated, right? Estimated ETA. I mean, estimated time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, kudos to Alex, man. He came through today. You know what it is? Take a
Oh,
look at
yeah.
the table. Thank you. Let me grab that. I need to, just slow, because, if I move fast, I might snap something.
Oh. Are you getting old? Is that you telling us that you're getting old? Shoot.
It's not me. It's my body. It's not me. But anyway, this is what Alex received as a gift from a friend, Alex?
From a client, I'll say.
From a client. And he decided to share this special gift with us. We're excited to try it.
I won't get to drink it until next time.
Okay.
But
yeah.
until next time. But
Yeah,
I know for sure Tim and Alex can enjoy it and give us a review of what it tastes like.
Yeah, I've never seen this brand before. Have you had this before?
No, it's
Looks nice.
made
though.
in Tennessee, I think.
Tennessee
Made and bottled
whiskey.
in Tennessee.
Can we play that Tennessee whiskey song? Because this is like the third time I'm requesting it, Alex.
No.
I'm keeping track of how many times I'm requesting that song, man.
Sorry, man.
So some behind the scenes is
You know?
there's always a conflict between Alex and Tim trying to figure out if we want music in the intro to start in. Or
Yeah.
to play some music while we
Put me in the
stuff
mood,
started.
you know what I mean?
What,
Hey,
us being here doesn't put you in the mood? What you talking about?
a deeper mood is what I'm trying to get to. Well, since you brought it over here, would you like to do the honor of opening it for us?
I mean, I'm way over here. You got the glasses and stuff. I'll let you
May
do it.
I?
Yeah.
I
Go ahead.
got
Oh,
you,
you
bro.
can go for it.
Oh, I got 3 glasses. Oh, Brian can't drink tonight for due to
purpose.
religious reason.
Yeah, but next
It's
time.
okay. I'll
Next
drink.
time for
I'll
sure.
drink extra for him.
That means a lot.
Hey,
That means a lot. Thank you.
yeah, you're welcome. Anytime. I'm here to take that extra shot for you.
Someone is more satisfied, I see.
Hey, so besides you having to wait for your car repair, did anything else happen in your week? I mean, everything else was good. Work was good. Nothing happened that got you irritated or annoyed or wanted to cuss somebody out?
Damn.
No, not really.
He's
Not
calm.
really.
You think Alex
I'm
is
driving.
the type?
I'm driving a white Bronco right now. I don't know how I feel about that. As a rental
O.J.
car.
Simpson?
Yeah.
Hey, he's not on the highway with a bunch of cops behind him, so I don't know. I think he's doing all right.
Yet.
Yet. Yeah. Gotta stage that photo right now, bro.
Alex is a pretty calm person, though, I think. I feel like, I don't know. Do you ever get angry at anybody?
Not really.
Really?
Usually I
Maybe like
try to work it
frustrated,
out.
right? Like
Yeah,
I
slightly
get
with
frustrated,
people.
but
Yeah.
like, I don't like. Not very like I don't have an outward appearance about it.
Okay.
So
You
I'll
just walk
kinda-
away? You just
I'll
shut
walk away.
down
I'll
and walk
just,
away?
No, I'll kind of just try and work it out. You know.
But I'm saying before you get to the point where you can work it out, do you ever like
Oh, I'm
walk away
planning.
to-
I'm planning how to work it out. Like.
Oh.
Yeah.
So like we're hanging out, I did something to you, I piss you off. You're just gonna come right back to me and be like, hey, we gotta work this out?
Pretty much. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if it's that serious, so if it's not a big deal, I'll just kind of brush it off. It's whatever.
That's pretty good. That's a good attitude.
Yeah, I wish I had that attitude all the time.
Yeah, why? You get angry a lot?
I mean, flustered. I
Yeah.
think flustered's the word for sure.
What frustrates you the most, or who frustrates you the most? What, like in your daily life from work to home?
Work to home.
Yeah.
I think it's a mixture of everything, right? So I think the biggest thing, and if I'm talking about my work life, because I keep my personal life and work life fairly separate. Or I
True.
try to keep it very separate.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think from a workspace is not my patience, if anything. It's and not I'm not talking about my personal patience, but my work patience. I have patient interactions and stuff like that. I work in the medical field, and oh, Alex, come get your glass.
Sorry for the interruption.
No, all good. But I think the biggest frustration at work has to be other providers. I think other providers that don't do their job.
Okay.
Not particularly in my organization, but
Right.
maybe in some other organization with that interaction, for example, right?
Okay.
I think at home, I think if anything that really frustrates me the most, and this may or may not be a controversial topic for some people and maybe for others. I think sometimes the person, for example, I'm going to put this in perspective, is that sometimes the person that you love the most is the one that's going to cut you the most deep. I think in things that we like have conversations with. So I think most of the times, my wife would be the one that gets me frustrated the most.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that in loving arms because I know she's watching.
Yeah.
But I think that's the thing too, is that even though it's frustrating, but it's the fact that we still have a conversation.
Yeah.
And figure things out.
Yeah. And that makes sense, though.
Yeah.
I mean, because the people that you care for or that you love the most, they tend to get to you because of the emotional involvement.
Right.
And
You're
then-
more open about it.
and
you're
then-
more kind of loving. Like it's almost like you have to reciprocate
Yeah.
something, right?
Yeah.
And so when you're both open to it,
Right.
they know a lot more about you than, say, maybe you. For
Yeah.
example.
Yeah.
The things I talk to you may not be the same things I talk to Serena about, or
Yeah.
it's how I interact with Alex. Like the things
Right.
I interact with Alex with, are not the same things I share with you.
Yeah,
So-
we certainly hope
yeah.
that you don't share everything with us, especially the things that you only share with Serena. I mean,
Hey, Saturday night conversations.
I'm just saying, I appreciate it. The limited amount of things that you share.
Unlimited?
Maybe in two more shots we can talk about that. No, but I think yes. On the one hand, yes, because you're so close to that person, and then, they understand you. They understand how to get to you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I think we allow that person to get to us more because we, like conversely, right? We know that person care for us.
Yeah.
We know that person understand us.
Oh yeah. Dude.
So then we have that expectation. Like, if you understand me, then I shouldn't have to say this to you, or that I shouldn't have to do this to make you understand how I feel. And so we kind of like set ourselves up to be even more to get frustrated more, or to get easily frustrated
Yeah.
over something that can be so small.
Yeah. Big
You
time.
know what I mean? Yeah.
Big time.
So I've never had that brand before, so we'll get back to that, our conversation.
How is it? I know you took a sip.
I didn't. Actually,
haven't?
I wanted to read about it real quick. So Uncle Near's 1884 small batch whiskey is a 93 proof whiskey distilled, aged, and bottled entirely by Uncle Nearest. Each batch is curated by fifth generation Nearest Green descendants and our master blender, Victoria Edie Butler, who was named Master Blender of the Year by Whiskey Magazine for 2 consecutive years in 2021 and 2022, as well as receiving the same honor from the Spirits Business and Vinpair in 2021. Tasting notes: nose, honey and warm brown sugar, cedar, orange peel, tobacco flower, spices of ground ginger and white pepper. Palate: caramel balanced with spicy wood tannins. Notes of baking chocolate, cigar leaf, nougat, and cinnamon. Finish: long and smooth. The cinnamon lingers with dark chocolate, oak tannins, and maple syrup. We gotta save you some next week. Cheers, Alex.
Cheers with my water.
Ooh,
Cheers,
hey.
boys.
Cheers, guys. I like it.
Oh,
It's
It's
good. Yeah.
oh, you going for a second sip? Ooh, y'all both.
Sweet. Yeah. I find myself saying that about everything I drink. Maybe that's why I tend to drink too much sometimes.
It's okay. Sometimes, hey, if you enjoy it, you enjoy
Tequila's sweet. Whiskey is sweet. Oh, what is that? Oh, whatever it is, sweet.
Sweet. It's all sweet.
No, so the reason why I kind of, as always, I wanted to kind of like check in with you guys, making
Yeah.
sure that, we had a good week, But my week, this past week, I was privileged enough to talk to a couple of friends about a couple of different issues.
Yeah.
Some personal, well, most of them were personal, right? And we started, on one topic, and then we ended up talking about other topics. But the one theme that stood out for me was the emotional intelligence part of the issues, right? I'm sure you've heard of that term before.
Once or twice, but
Okay.
a lot of people define it very differently.
Okay.
It's a very subjective term.
What about you, Alex? Have you heard of the term emotional intelligence?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay. Would you be able to provide a definition of that term based on your own understanding?
I guess emotional intelligence. I think it's mostly like knowing, like understanding different emotions and like complex emotions.
Okay.
And but also like being able to perceive emotions like that in other people. So like if you're emotionally intelligent, like you understand yourself and you like the emotions that you're feeling, but it can also go the other way where like you are very perceptive of other people.
Yeah.
So you understand the emotions that they're feeling just by body language or their tone of voice or
Yeah.
how you know them. And
Now you're pretty spot on. The other part of it is, the actions that you take based on, your emotions at the moment,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And because I think that's when a lot of people fail to lose control at that moment, when your coworker is pissing you off, or your significant other, or your loved one, whether that person is your mom, your dad, your sister, your sibling, somebody that you're close to, right? Or it could just be like a bouncer, you know,
Damn, we got all the
who
bouncers.
who lets everybody else in
Except for
but
you.
right? So, but no, that's pretty good, Alex. I'm very impressed. I mean, you started out slow, but you built up to it, and I think you covered it,
Nailed it.
pretty well.
Nailed it on it.
What about you? I mean, what's your definition? Is it something similar to what Alex just said?
I think it's something similar to Alex's, because honestly, the way Alex put it is, it's kind of true. It covers all bases. It covers your own intelligence, the environment that you're in, the scenario that you're in,
Yeah.
and then the other person's current emotions from that environment, that scenario, and how it's reflecting between you, yourself, and they and them, I guess you could say. So
Yeah. Excuse me, guys. Let me get up and turn off the air conditioning real quick. I totally forgot. I can hear it running in the back, and I just don't want it to interfere with
No,
our
go ahead.
conversation. So y'all can keep talking. I'll be right back. It's right here.
Only Tim, man. Running extra
Got
hard.
your, got your grapes in?
Get grapes in. Get all the
Grape, or
grapes.
is that, was that
Both?
cantaloupe?
Got some grapes. Got some cantaloupe. I was gonna cut some mango.
Dang,
But-
going all out.
I didn't have time. I had to, get myself ready
Hosting.
for the episode.
Yeah.
By the way, this is episode number 7. I just want to say that because
I can't believe it's number 7. I'm
Yeah,
not gonna
right.
lie. It's crazy.
I know, right? From the time when we were like, let's get it started, and then it took us almost 2 months to get everything ready,
Yeah.
and here we are, number 7.
Finally.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, but I guess what my question is, what prompted you from your friends having these, going through personal issues? What prompted you to think of this? Like what like ignited that? You're like, dude, I gotta talk about this tonight. Like,
yeah, because I thought it's okay. So, first part of your question, what prompted me to think about it? So, I came back, after the vacation, and I've been busy with work, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a friend that I normally check in with on a weekly basis. Nothing too much. Sometimes we just send a text and
Yeah.
be like, "Hey, how you doing?" Right? And I haven't texted or spoken to him for like 4 weeks, which is not a long time. I don't think 4 weeks, it's a long time for most of us now when we're busy.
No,
right?
no, not at all.
But then I text him. He didn't respond to me. Then I called him. He didn't pick up. And normally I'm like, okay, well, he called me back the next day, right? Okay, nothing unusual, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So then when he called me back, I'm like, hey, man, how you been, what's going on with you guys, Meaning him and his wife. And he's like, well, I've been staying at my mom's house because she and we are getting a divorce. And the last time I saw both of them, I was in their kitchen talking to both of them.
Okay.
So at that time, things were still okay, at least to
From
my
your
knowledge.
perspective, yeah.
To my knowledge, right? So I was like, dang, in 4 weeks. And he's like, I didn't tell you. I'm like, man, you didn't, you know what I mean? You probably told a bunch of people, because I'm sure for anyone who goes through that kind of situation, you tend to kind of reach out to other people.
Vent it.
Yes.
Kind of vent it out.
Just to vent. Yeah, I've been there. You know what I mean? I've been in 2 long-term relationships where when things kind of went sour, I ended up talking to a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's just my way of coping with the issues that I was dealing with at that time, right?
Right.
So I was like, oh yeah, that's cool, man. Why don't you come over? Let me make dinner. Let's hang out. I said I got a nice bottle of whiskey or tequila, or I have some vodka because he likes to drink vodka, not straight up, but mix it with something. I'm like, dude, I got you. Whatever, come over. I'll make you dinner.
Yeah.
And then he came over, and he and I usually enjoy a drink together. We just sit out in the back and just chit chat. He'll light up his cigar, and I don't smoke cigar anymore. But I sit next next to him, and then we just chit chat about things. Right?
Yeah.
He's a bit older than me too. He's kind of like he's older, so I tend to look at him like he's my older brother, whatever. But I offer him a drink. And then he was like, I can't drink. I'm like, why can't you drink? He's like, I'm not going to drink. I'm not in the mood to drink. I'm like, I get it. I understand. But okay, you just let me know, because at first I was like, that's odd. Because most of the time, yes, as you are going through certain issues, like issues that bug the heck out of you, you want to drink. You know what I mean? Like just at least have one drink,
Yeah.
And I'm not one to get drunk. You guys know that, but I like to have one or two drink, right? So, okay, that's cool, whatever. Let's go outside, man. I'm going to throw some meat on the grill, because I told him I'll make him steak dinner or whatever. And I'm like, just go hang out outside. Let me get the grill, ready, and I'll come out. So, came out. I had my drink because, I wanted a drink.
Yeah.
Just like
it's your evening, man. It's your place.
Mm-hmm. Well, we started talking, and then, long story short, he got into an argument with his wife. I would still call her that, just because they're going through it. It's not final yet, right? So, and out of respect for the fact that nothing has been final, she's still his wife.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, they got into an argument. And then basically he's like, you know what, I'm done with this. I can't take this anymore. I'm going to leave. And so he went upstairs, started packing up some of his, personal belongings or whatever. And he left. Then he came back to pick up some other stuff.
Yeah.
And so the first time he left, everything was okay. When he came back, then she was like, what are you coming back for? And because he's back at the house, now that gave her a chance to say something else, right? And then because she says something, he ended up saying something back. And then nobody got physical with anybody, really, right?
It was just a
heated argument, He ended up, like knocking something off the kitchen counter on the way out, and just basically like, man, fuck this shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm out, right? And he left. But then I guess she ended up calling the police department and file a report on him.
Mm.
Basically saying that he threatened her and just basically a bunch of stuff, right? Accusation, right? And whether it's true or not, I wasn't there, so I can't say. But then we started talking about man. Well, he kind of hated the fact that he came back to the house because he could have been gone, right? And when he came back, he couldn't help himself but to engage in that conversation.
Right.
When she started saying stuff, right? And then, he ended up knocking something
out.
over. Then basically things kind of escalated to a different level, right? So, because of that, he now has some additional issues that he has to deal with the court.
Yeah.
And the court system, obviously, and this is my opinion, based on my personal experience, can be very biased when it comes to believing in the allocation that's coming from a woman versus what the man has to say,
Mm-hmm.
right? So because of that, he's kind of mad at himself, and now there is a restraining order where he can't even come back to the house to get his personal belongings, like his clothes and just some additional stuff. Because when he was packing up, he only got enough stuff for a few days, and he figured like, hey, when everything cools down, I'll come back and I'll get the rest of my things, right? But because of what happened, now he can't come back to the house, so he's without clothes. Well, I mean, he had to go buy new clothes and stuff like that, but none of his personal belongings is, accessible to him now until he goes to court next month. So, from there, we started talking about, like, man, could things have gone differently? And he started talking about, could he have handled things differently? And on the one hand, I understand what happened. I was there, once, my whole entire life, out of all the relationship that I had, right? So one time I ended up losing my shit, and I didn't become like physically abusive or anything like that, but there was enough physical evidence that got me in enough trouble, and then I had to go to court, and then I ended up having to take a counseling class, which covers various topics, but one of the main topics that class was meant for was emotional intelligence and how you handle your emotions in situations like that.
Yeah.
Right. So going back to what I asked you guys for the definition, I had to look it up because I'm not a certified, like
What do you call it?
I'm not a
Psychologist?
professional, right? So I
Yeah.
had to look it up. To compare my understanding with the knowledge that I was able to obtain from that class, right? It was a long class, dude. It was like 6 months. Well, it was only like twice a month, but it's a long class.
Yeah.
In 6 months, somebody can get a degree. I mean, or a certificate to get like a decent paying job. So, you Google it, you can find a lot of information, but I think that this one website kind of sum it up pretty good. So there are 4 pillars of emotional intelligence, right? Number 1 is self-awareness. And that is, the ability to recognize your own emotions, understand how they influence your actions. And then the second one is self-regulation. And that is about how you manage your emotions in a healthy way, your ability to adapt to changing circumstances, from a peaceful relationship, from a loving relationship, to a rocky relationship, or that argument, that fight, whatever, right?
Yeah.
That verbal altercation that you have with your loved one, right? That is the changing circumstances, of your household, your relationship. Third one is empathy. Understand other people's emotions, the ability to offer comfort and support. And the last one is social skills, and that is how to build and maintain relationships, and to have effective communications. So those are the 4 pillars of emotional intelligence. And again, guys, like, if you want to look that up, you can just Google emotional intelligence, and you can find that information right online. So that's what we talked about. And then yesterday, I ended up I was calling another friend just to check in, you know what I mean? And at first we joking around. We joking around a lot. Like, we talk shit to each other all the time. But then somehow, some way, we got into the conversation of his relationship and my relationship with family members, especially the ones that we're really close to.
Yeah.
And like we started talking about how do we handle them. Like normally, my personality is this: I don't tolerate BS from people. My thing is, if you come into my life, you should bring something positive to my life, and if you can't do that, you don't have to be in my life because I won't allow you anyway. You know what I mean? Because like, this is me. I'm me. My universe consists of me and so me make up this little bubble, right? My universe is my own bubble right here, right?
Yeah.
Which is me. So if me being by myself make up this full bubble, 100%, right? If I allow you to come into my life, that means you should be adding to that bubble, right? And make it bigger. You guys ever play with bubbles when you were, little kids, where you blow a bubble and then, you get one and then you're trying to merge it with another one to make it bigger?
I'm doing that now with my
Yeah,
son. So.
you said little kid. I'm still playing with bubbles, man. Come on.
I'm glad. Hey, we maybe.
Hey, just because we're adults doesn't mean we can't be kids, bro. What are you talking about?
Maybe I'm just too old. Damn. I haven't played with bubbles in a long time.
Looks like you need to get started, too. I'm missing out.
Maybe we'll have a bubbles party, okay? We're start blowing bubbles. Maybe for the next episode. That would be, a bubble episode. Who knows, right? Hey, I'm open for anything. So anyway, and that's just how I go about life, man. Like, you know, that's just me. So if I am in a relationship with you, whether that's just a friendship or, you my family member or you my romantic partner, right? If I can't add anything positive to your life, I would refuse to be in your life. Mm-hmm. I'm not here to bring problems to your life, right? If you didn't have to ask anybody for their permission to do anything prior to meeting me, I mean, assuming that the things you want to do are like normal stuff, you know what I mean? Nothing out of line, right? Like going shopping or spend some money buying, a purse that you like or buy a bottle of whiskey that you love, right? Or, just pursue some of the hobbies that you have, right?
Yeah.
And if you're in a relationship with me and you have to start asking me for permission, in my opinion, you shouldn't be with me. Because why would you want to have somebody in your life just to, give that extra burden on you?
Yeah, I could see that.
Right? And yes, there's certain obligations that you have to do for your partner. I mean, checking in, checking out, right? I mean, you're not single anymore. You can't be gone all night, right? And if you are going to be gone all night, at least say, hey, I'm going to be at, so-and-so's house, Right. So you have certain obligations, but there's a fine line between upholding, those obligations and having to, like, ask for permission to live your life, to do the things that make you happy.
Right.
And again, I'm not talking about the things that would, be out of the norm. Like, if you want to go rob somebody, or, I don't care how happy you are, you should stop. If you want to go gamble your check, every time you get paid, or stop, And obviously, if you have that problem, I wouldn't be with you anyway. So, I mean, I wouldn't even waste my time talking to you about things like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, so then, we started talking about how we should handle the relationships that we have either cut off or that we don't have any desire to develop with somebody, regardless of the fact that they're family, And so I have distanced myself from certain family members. I have totally, like, shut them out of my life.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat with
purposely, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's certain. So we started asking, as as the conversation went on, we started asking each other questions like, okay, so should we do this for this person, or should family member get a pass? Because we can easily cut off a stranger, like, even a girlfriend. A lot of times it's easier to cut them off.
Yeah.
But can we do the same thing, and should we do the same thing if that person is our sibling, if that person is our mom, dad? What do you guys think? I mean, I'm gonna stop because I've been talking a lot.
No,
I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna ask you what you think. Then I'll come back and share you the rest of my view when it comes to like my view on emotional intelligence and my decision to do certain things. Because even as the definition is telling you,
yeah, you
should take actions based on your emotions. It doesn't mean that it's right to somebody else.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So we'll get back to that. Have you guys? And I know you just say yes, but so you've had to cut off some family member.
Yes. Actually, I'm glad you brought this up too, because I think they both kind of go hand in hand, the emotional intelligence and this, because I think without one or the other, we wouldn't be able to make that decision. We wouldn't be able to make that like kind of choice and decisions, right? I think it's funny when you bring it up. It makes me smile because it reminds me of how when we talked before we even started the podcast.
Yeah.
Our ideas, like, we are very similar, but yet our ages are very far apart from each other.
Yeah.
But I see relationships like you do too. My circle of friends that I keep close, that benefit me the most, and I benefit them the most, it's very small.
Yeah.
Very, very small.
Yeah.
I consider less than a handful of people. And it's important to take note that too, is that I'm not here to offend anybody. Like, some people are my friends, but I don't consider them within that bubble.
Yeah.
Right? So, and I treat it the same way too. And like I always tell Serena this. I always tell my family this, especially specifically my mom. Excuse me. Specifically my mom, is that I have a tendency to treat my relationships like glass. Once it's done, it's done.
Yeah.
I don't go back to fix it. I don't go back to try to piece it together. Once it's done, I leave it alone. And I tend to do that, like especially when now at where I am now, I don't want to mend or fix things. I may start over with some family and friends.
Yeah.
But I'll leave it alone because I had never benefited from it from the get-go, and I'm not going to benefit from it now.
Yeah.
So I kind of leave it alone. And the thing with family, and how you say, would it just only exist with friends or family, or both?
Yeah.
I think it exists across the board, especially for me, because everybody has somewhat of an influence on your day-to-day. It doesn't matter who they are. It may be a stranger.
Yeah.
And, shoot, maybe you, Tim, maybe tonight you tell me, I don't like having you in the podcast or something. Like, something that could initiate a conversation.
Yeah.
Right? But things like that, I don't see myself trying to make something work when I know it's not working.
Yeah.
Right? Like, the thing is, like, when
Can you hold that thought for just a second,
Yeah.
please? Oh, you can keep talking.
Yeah.
You can keep talking. Talk to everybody else.
Let me. I got Alex here.
Excuse me, guys. I just gotta step away for just 1 second. Thanks.
But I think it's important to take note. I like, and this is just a perspective on my end, and maybe you have a different look at it on Alex. But I treat a lot of my relationships like they are. Like, there is a certain degree to how I treat friends and family, and there's a certain degree how I treat everybody else. And I think to a certain perspective, some days it's really good, and sometimes it's really bad. But it's not like it's not being broken by any means. So with that, I think a lot of times when we ask in a conversation, like, do we disconnect from these people? Do we, stay away from them?
Yeah.
Or something like.
I'm back.
No, you're good. Welcome back. But I think when you try to when you try to keep working something and it doesn't work, right?
Mhm.
I'm not saying like you give somebody a second chance. I think a lot of people deserve second chances sometimes
Yeah.
because mistakes happen, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's a friendship, romantic relationships,
Yeah.
family, even,
Okay.
right? I think they sometimes do deserve a second chance. It depends on the circumstance too.
Let me ask you something though. Second chance. Would you give somebody a second chance if you know who they are already? Meaning, if that person is a family member, your sibling, someone who you know exactly what that person is about, their personality, you know, their preferences, their worldview, whatever. Would you give them a second chance, knowing that that's the exact same person that pissed you off so much that you decided to remove yourself from being in a relationship with that person?
If I knew them well enough, and again, like I said, if it depends on the circumstance, if I knew them well enough and I know that it just won't work, it won't happen.
Okay.
It won't. Because I think back, and I think specifically about my family, like my dad's side of the family. My dad's side of the family, I have issues with them left and right. So I have a tendency to avoid confrontation. If they're there at a family reunion or at that or at something that was important or something or a memorial, I feel like my relationship with them is very mutual. It doesn't feel like family. I kind of not to say that they aren't my family, but I don't treat them like I treat, say, for example, my mom.
Yeah.
Or say that I treat my mom's cousins, for example.
Or
right?
somebody else who might not be family, but you're close to. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, for example, if we were talking about this and say you were there, the way I'd spend time with you would be, I'd consider it more close than me spending time with that side of the family.
Yeah.
Right.
I get that.
So I think in that perspective, if we were to give second chances, I'd only give it to those who I know that it was a mistake, or I know that whatever accounted for the event that maybe had hurt our relationship.
Yeah.
Okay. I could reason with it and be like, okay, maybe you just had a fuck up. You had a bad day.
Yeah. Or you didn't know how I felt. Now you do. Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think people do deserve at times a second chance.
Okay.
But I think when it comes to a lot of things, I'm kind of a hypocrite talking about this too, because I know, for example, Serena's given me plenty of second chances, and I speak that because I think I have been a very broken person too. So it takes some time for me to get fixed. You know what I mean? But it's like, but it's also on the same lines of, I think somebody putting an effort towards something versus somebody that knows that they did it wrong and just left it.
Yeah.
As it was.
Yeah.
No matter how many chances you give them, they left it as it was because they don't care.
Yeah.
Ultimately, at the end of the day, they think of you less than they are. So what's the point of them trying to help themselves help you?
Yeah.
It won't make sense to them.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and so on the one hand, if we go by the definition of emotional intelligence and how you should handle your emotions, right? I would say that is the right thing to do, right? Because, you make decision based on how you feel, and, the decision that you make, the actions that you take are those that's going to keep you from being in a predicament where you lose control of your emotions, right? On the other hand, though, somebody might call you selfish.
Oh, I don't disagree. I think
and so the third pillar of the emotional intelligence is what?
You gotta say it again. I already forgot.
Empathy.
Yeah.
Understand other people's emotions. Offer comfort and support. So they come to you, but like, I don't understand why you have to be this way. I am who I am. You should understand me. Let's say, I know you don't have a sibling.
I don't have any siblings. Yeah. Just me.
So I think it might be a little different for you to discuss this compared to, somebody else who has a sibling. Yeah. And they actually have to deal with the sibling, right? What if your sibling? But imagine that you have a sibling who comes to you, but like, I am your brother, I'm your sister. How can you treat me this way? Basically, they come to you with that expectation, like, okay, you should love me for who I am. What will you say to that? Can you be fully intelligent when it comes to the actions that you take to be in complete control of your emotions because of the things that this person might do to you?
I think it'd be a different perspective because I like I like saying this in the sense that when I witness Serena's family, because Serena is a family of 4.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's her sister, and her 2 brothers.
Yeah.
The way they talk to each other, no matter the kind of whirlwind that they've had any trauma that they have had to go through, they still come back together, even though they know that person is still going to do something like this, or even if they know that.
Yeah.
You know, I think the relationship between siblings is a lot more different than. And I for me, I can't say this is from an outsider view because I don't have that experience.
Yeah.
I've never grew up with that personal experience. Yeah. But I think for me is that when I see that, I see how Serena treats, for example, her younger brother. And her younger brother, he's a lot better of a person now.
Yeah.
When he was growing up, he had a lot of difficulties, a lot of turmoil, a lot of things going on. But the way she treated her brother, even though he had all this stuff going on, never changed. Right? So
that's love.
It is.
That's real love.
Honestly, like I know, and I know they've had heated conversations too. Not to say that they haven't.
Yeah.
But you know, little things like that, and even other family members, other siblings of hers is that, you know, I think she, and I'm looking at, and this is a sample size of one. And think about, you know, that in that sense, like that's a loving family. I think they both try to love and respect each other, even though they know they have differences.
Right.
And I think about the opposite.
Yeah.
I think about my mom's boyfriend, for example. My mom's boyfriend. He's a much older guy. He's in his late age, but he's got a pretty decent sized family. But they're all disconnected, very disconnected on every level possible. Like they don't like each other.
Let me ask you this though: have you ever seen Serena or any of her siblings get so mad at each other? To the point like somebody is storming out of the house, or somebody say, "I'm not gonna go to Thanksgiving dinner if that person is gonna be there."
I haven't seen it get that far.
Okay.
But then again, my involvement with Serena's, like her life with her siblings, is little compared to what she has been spending with her siblings. So maybe they've had an event that I haven't been a part of or know about.
Right.
So I think in some aspects, I bet they've had one. I mean, perhaps
not, because given the fact that she's your wife, I think if she has ever gone through anything like that, or if she is ever going through something like that, she would share that with you, I believe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
for sure.
So I think it sounds like there's some conflict naturally, right? I mean, from one person to another. I mean, that's just the differences in all of us, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we have conflicts within our own self, Sometimes, you wake up and you're like, man, I don't feel good about.
I don't like myself today.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? Like, I'm an idiot, or I don't know what to wear. You know what I mean? I just wear nothing.
Oh, okay.
Stop.
Invite me over.
You stop yourself now. You didn't even drink. You only had water. What's in that water?
I don't need water to have a good time. What are you talking about?
It's just the right wind, right?
Yeah.
No, so I think it's awesome that somebody can that somebody doesn't have to go through the hardship of having to make a difficult decision to cut off someone they love.
I think
dearly,
so.
Right?
I think so.
Or someone that they're biologically related to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I say this because, my friend, he asked me, because he didn't talk to his sister for a long time. And he felt like his life would be totally fine without her. And she's his only sister. To a certain extent, I share his view on that. My sister and I, we're not close. I know that she's my sister. She's done things for me, and I know whatever I need, she might bitch about it. She might say something to me about it, but she'll do it for me, right? But we don't have that relationship where, like, hey, let's, go out
out for a drink or
together.
something.
Let's, hang out together. Let's, talk about our kids together and things like that. You know what I mean? We do, but every time we do, then both of us will realize that, hey, we have different ways of raising our kids. We have totally opposite worldviews when it comes to not only the kids, but other things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we know who we are to each other, and we keep our distance just to kind of avoid getting into like an argument or things like that. You know what I mean? And to be quite frankly, I mean, like, I'm sure my sister would be fine without me. She's totally independent. She takes care of herself, and same for me. So we're not relying on each other for anything, right?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we don't have that close relationship where it's like, okay, well, I haven't talked to my sister, or I haven't talked to my brother, in a week, and I'm missing her, I'm missing him. I guess we kind of don't have that relationship.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with how much I care for her as a person, how much I love her as my sister. It's just like we don't have that relationship.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that either.
Yeah.
It's just how the relationship is built off of.
Yeah.
Foundationally, you don't have things that you connect on, and I think that's okay.
And it goes back to me being able to decide that, hey, by keeping the distance, I get to avoid getting mad at her, and vice versa. If we just kind of give each other the space, then we can see each other once in a while. We'd be happy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or at least like peaceful, rather than trying to be close, knowing that you don't get along or you don't connect. Then you end up, arguing. You end up, debating on everything.
Yeah.
And then you end up resenting each other, because every time you see each other, it's nothing but, confrontation.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, so there's that, right? But some people say, well, maybe you're not ready to, and that was part of my conversation with my friend too, because he's like, well, his sister is going through something right now, and then he's like, he's like, I really don't care. Just because she's going through something, I shouldn't have to be the person to sacrifice my peace for the sake of having a sibling that I really don't need, but she's just going through something. So, there's the biological obligation that, you have to give to this person, because this person is your sister or your brother, right?
Yeah.
And so, like me, I'm trying to be diplomatic, and I was like, hey, you got to do what makes you happy. But then we started talking about the other thing, where it's like, okay, are we selfish? Because in a sense, we are selfish, because we expecting, if we get into a relationship with someone or decide to develop a relationship with someone, I think we kind of have to put aside some of the things that we have decided on based on our ability to control our emotions, right?
Yeah.
Because you kind of have to understand, hey, that's who she is, that's who he is. So I can choose to love that person, and if I choose to have a relationship with that person, then I have to accept that person for who he is or who she is. I can't just say, well, I guess I'm being emotionally intelligent by making the right decision to have a relationship with my sister or my brother, but I have expectation, because in essence, are you truly trying to understand who that person is or their emotions, because that person might or might not be aware of what he or she is doing to you.
Yeah.
For example, right? So, for example, okay. I was in a relationship with someone, okay? And then, short term, you know, ended up not being together, right? And I was kind of, I was pretty bummed out, you know what I mean? Naturally, right?
Yeah.
And this is when I was younger. And I think I would imagine that it would still happen now if I care enough about that person, right? But then a comment was made to me. It went something along the line of, well, you weren't with that person that long enough anyway, so it shouldn't matter to you. But then for somebody to say that, like, dude, you don't know what I'm going through. You don't know how I felt about that person. You don't know the connection that only I and that person can feel. So for you to come to me
and say that,
and especially imagine if that person is your mom, your dad, or someone that you're close to. Even though they say that out of every good intention to make you feel better, you're probably going to get offended. And then, you're going to decide, like, well, you know what? I don't give a shit if I have a relationship with you just because, you don't understand who I am and blah, blah. And if you choose to cut off that person, are you truly being emotionally intelligent, or are you just making a selfish decision by not being able to understand what that person is trying to do or who that person is? And maybe that's the best way that person can do for you at that moment in effort to make you feel better. Shit's get complicated, doesn't it?
It does. But I mean, when you put it in that perspective, there are so many factors that make us emotionally driven because of that.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of the things, like, if for example, if you let's bring that scenario up, right? You were in that position, your family member tells you that.
Yeah.
I think you'd be pissed off for sure.
Yes.
I mean, no, like, not a doubt you'd be pissed off. But
because why can't you just say, I'm sorry that you're going through this, instead of saying, like, oh, you weren't with her that long, you shouldn't feel this way.
Exactly.
But not everybody is born to have that ability to express themselves or to convey the message appropriately.
Yeah, like being sympathetic.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hello. You hear me now?
Yeah.
We good. Sorry.
So,
My
like,
bad,
for example,
bro.
like, I think the idea of being sympathetic, right? Not I believe empathy is a part of our column. I mean, the columns of emotional.
One of the four
right?
pillars.
Pillars.
Yeah.
Columns, pillars.
Mm-hmm.
But I think sympathy is important because sympathy, just as much as telling somebody they're selfish, they kind of, like, funny enough, are like parallel to one another. You telling somebody, like, dude, who cares? Like,
Yeah.
or in the same perspective of saying, like,
But are you selfish for telling that person they're selfish just because they are doing something that you don't like?
No. I think.
Are you sure?
Yeah. You know why? Because and to answer, to clarify myself by saying that, is because I think when you tell somebody that they're selfish, it's not fair for you, the person saying that, you telling them that they're selfish because of a situation, because you don't know the full story. I feel like, right? Now, the perspective changes though if you took that person and the person that they're dealing with, and say, for example, we're talking about your friend here. Your friend and your sister needs help, so your sister's going through something, or her sister's going through something, and her sister asks for help. Which did she ask for help? I just had a question. Did she ask for help from him or anything, or
She didn't. I guess I
just told him, right? She just told him, like,
no,
about the
I guess she
situation?
didn't, but I think it was the mom that say, hey, your sister's going through this, you should reach out.
Okay, so
And then so
hear me
my
out on
friend's
this.
like, well, I don't care. You know, we've never had that kind of relationship.
So,
So why should I reach out?
Hear me out on this from a person that doesn't have siblings. Okay,
Yeah.
I think if that was the case, I would tell my that if that was my mom and if I was in his shoes, I'd tell my mom, I understand that she's going through something, but she hasn't asked for my help. Knowing that they've been around together for a certain amount of time,
Yeah.
maybe she'll ask me for help eventually. But if she's not asking for my help, I'm not going to deal with it.
But what if that person,
You know what I mean?
is not the kind to ask for help? What if your sibling, the sibling,
But the
is
thing
not
is-
the kind of person that can ask for help, or the kind of person that has the ability to recognize the wrong things or the things that she does that would hurt her siblings' feeling?
Again, subjective.
That
But
person
if it was
doesn't have
me-
the awareness.
Right. If that person, this is again
Yeah.
super subjective, right? But if I was in his shoes, maybe I would. And this is what I would do.
Yeah.
I'd call him up, check in. Not that I would offer help. I just want to check in, just to see how you're
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not gonna say like, do you need my help? You know, like if I was in his shoes with a little bit of his mindset, I'd be like, okay, you know, if you need help, you need help. But if it's like if she can tell me, and if they've known each other for, since they've been
Their
born,
whole life,
their
yeah.
whole life, then they know better.
Yeah.
Then he's not gonna. If he will know, you know, and if say for example that was the case, she tells her or she tells him the situation.
Mm-hmm.
He knows. He's like, you know what, you may need a helping hand, right?
Yeah.
Because he knows her more than anybody else.
So I think
Like-
his fear is like I think he's a part of him wants to reach out, but the other part of him is saying there's no hope.
Yeah.
There's no need, because nothing would change. Whether or not she's going through something, she is still the same person. So he's very hesitant about giving his time and effort to try to
help.
build on something that he knows that's not going to go anywhere.
So see,
what I'm
I
saying?
think that's a difference between somebody being selfish and somebody going through the thought process.
Yeah, I think
it.
on a personal level, he's not selfish.
Yeah, I could see
Right.
that just from you telling me
Yeah.
that he's explaining himself. Like, I kind of thought through it. You know what I mean? Like,
well, and ultimately, to me, I don't look at it like selfish, because each of us is entitled to feel how we feel.
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't tell me, like, okay, you might be a fan of the Chicago Bulls. I'm a fan of, Miami Heat. For whatever reason, doesn't matter. Both teams do the same thing, right? They got guys playing basketball, running up and down the court, putting the ball in the basket. Both do the same thing, but maybe there's something in the Bulls jersey that, gives you some kind of meaning, and on the other
some
hand,
vibes.
you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, so he's not being selfish, but again, he's being, to me, on a personal level, he's being fully emotionally intelligent,
Yeah.
because
he's
he
gone through
makes
that
the
thought
action to
process.
protect his his emotions, and he don't act out, right? Because he doesn't get angry. He don't want to get angry, so he avoid doing things or putting himself in a situation where he be angry and he will lose his ability to think, or he no longer can show his empathy towards somebody because that person just pissed him the hell off, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
when you get angry, you lose your ability to communicate. You just yell and you say mean things. So again, on a personal level, I think he's totally fine, justified. But on the other hand, I mean, his sister might say, well, you're just an asshole because you don't care about me. You don't care about what I'm going through. You don't care about, like trying to understand me and have that relationship with me. So, yeah.
I think again, with that, for the perspective of the two, like it's not. I don't think it's bad, or I mean, it's not bad for someone to make that decision to say, I know this person well enough to not help them or not
Yeah,
want to help
yeah.
them because I know that it's going to hurt me more than
Yeah.
it will be to do something about it, right?
Okay. So
So-
just based on our conversation, then I would say that for you, you're gonna do what makes you happy.
Yeah.
You're gonna do what feels right to you. As much as you care about somebody else, your feelings come first. Your inner peace come first. Your clarity comes first, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would you agree? Would you do the same thing?
I like fixing stuff. Like, you'll know me, I like fixing stuff. So
You would.
to me, like, if there's some issue, like, I'm not one to like cut people off necessarily. Like, I know when things just can't be repaired, and like I'm wasting time trying to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, it's also like a learning experience to make me myself more emotionally intelligent.
I like that.
And more aware, more
It's good to have
self-aware,
another perspective because
but also
Yeah,
more
I-
aware of like how other people work.
Yeah, no, I like that because that's what I was gonna allude to eventually. But man, so Alex is good.
yeah,
So you guys should know me by now. Like, I try my best not to be a negative person. So I look at everything in life from a positive, viewpoint, meaning it doesn't matter how bad that the situation is for me. To me, that is an opportunity to learn, right? And whether it's my job or, something that happened with or without my control, right? Or
Mhm.
with or within, well, being outside or inside of my control. No, yeah. Whatever happens, whatever I have to go through, whatever challenges that I have to deal with, to me is an opportunity to learn,
yes,
to
yeah.
be better, right? To be.
You're not afraid to make a mistake
Yeah.
in that moment. You're not. There's no fear of like I'm just
Yeah.
going to participate.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, yeah, and I don't waste my time with negative thoughts and negative actions. Yeah, I might fall, but it's okay. I'll get up and do it again.
Yeah.
So I like that. I really like that. Yes, it's an opportunity to learn, but the only thing I would say is to me there is limitation. I'm not gonna keep learning. I'm not one, like, I don't like to fail. I'm
Well,
willing to.
I mean, I said that too. Like, I know when things aren't fixable.
Yeah.
Like, and I've learned that before, so I know what that, I guess, that arbitrary boundary is, to
Yeah.
where like I should not give any more effort into.
So eventually
to
you
this
will cut somebody
relationship.
off once you hit your limit.
I don't just go and cut them off, but like I kind of see it as like I can tell when they don't want to have any more interaction with me.
But what if they
You leave
keep
it
coming
alone.
back to
And
you
then-
though? What if they keep coming back to you and they keep telling you that I want that, but they're unable to change?
Well, see, I haven't had that sort of experience.
Yeah,
See,
maybe once you do, because I think a lot of
I
times.
most of the time that old friends that I don't talk with anymore, or that I had an issue with,
Yeah.
I would try to, repair that relationship or
Hmm.
or compromise in a way that, is mutually beneficial for both of us. But sometimes, they just don't, they don't take that feedback or anything. They kind of push me away, and I take that as a sign like, okay, maybe it is time to just not reach out anymore. If they still reach out to me, I'll say, hey, what's up or whatever. It's not the same as it was like when we were at the time when we were closer, but
Yeah.
See, I think that's important to take note of because I think for me, I'm kind of like that too with friends. And like I said earlier, once it gets to that point, it's I treat it like shattered glass. It's done.
Yeah, same here.
Like and
Yeah.
and
I don't
with
look
the-
back, dude. I don't care how many times you reach out, bro. Like,
yeah,
you had your chances.
At that point you're wasting both of our times.
Yeah, you had
It's
your
just-
chances,
you've- yeah.
and I shouldn't have to change for you now just because you're ready to be, a different person, right?
Yes.
And And I'm not going to be mad at you. My thing is, I don't stay mad at anybody. Just because I cut you off, people would say, well, you cut me off because, you're mad at me. No, I cut you off because I know that we are very different, and there's no need for us to be together. There's no need for us to have any kind of relationship. You do you and I do me. That's it. Because if we are involved somehow, the things you do is going to piss me off. As much as I respect your rights to have your personal views, it's still gonna piss me off. So the best way for me is to not be involved, to not be a part of your life.
Yeah, I will say, and to add, I think being in the position that I am now with being married and again, like I said earlier, like everybody treats their marriage differently.
Yeah.
And for me, I know for sure Serena and I have our rough days, our rough moments.
We all do.
Yeah, we always do.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I'm more lenient when it comes to her than it comes to other people. That even includes my own personal family, as in like my mom.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so. I absolutely think so, because I think the reason why I say that is because
you love her.
On top of loving her, I think Serena and I both know that we're still learning a lot, especially now as parents. It's a constant, like every day is something new.
But what if you get to the point where, and I hope you guys never get to that point, but the story of my friend.
Yeah.
What if you get to that point? Are you gonna be so
something
pissed off because? And I hear this a lot, and I did this for a while too. Because one of my relationship meant more than other, right? This is the one relationship that I've had, until my recent relationship, and again, I wouldn't feel the same way now just because I'm older now.
Mm-hmm.
I can confidently say that I'm more in tune with my emotions. So the way I handle that particular situation now would be different than, how I did back in the day, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it pissed me off because I feel like, hey, I've done everything for you. I don't deserve this. I deserve more from you. So what if, and again, this is hypothetical, right? Serena, please forgive me for, if you're watching the show, please forgive me for, kind of like putting Brian in this mindset, right? But yeah, what if you get to the point where, let's say things aren't working out. She say, I don't care what you do, how you feel, I don't care what you've done. I want nothing to do with you. Would you be able to say the same, or to retain that feeling, that same feeling that you just say right now?
I would still be able to retain it. I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I speak that I speak that because I think the thing that Serena and I share on top of our relationship is that, and I see a lot of, I mean, we struggle with it too, and not to say that we don't, but I think we both communicate to each other in much better now more than I've had before. And before, dude, I used to have big ass fits. Like, to be completely honest, like I used to throw shit too, I used to have that anger issue. But I'm at a point where I'm more wanting to take the time to think it through. Funny enough, like I was talking about this today, and
you
like,
quote unquote grew up.
Yeah, quote unquote fucking grew up. Dude. Honestly, like it makes us have discussions, and we call them discussions because it's really what we try to get to the bottom of. Like, and that's the difference for me. That's the biggest.
And
difference.
by the way, being able to communicate with each other, having the skills or being able to develop the skills to have an effective communication with the other person. That's the fourth. That's part of the four pillars. And
it's funny because talking about your friend, for example. Here, I think how things got to where they got to is because it was just a breakdown of slowly deteriorating relationship, right?
Yeah.
So it had to. It wasn't like a 0 to 60 like that, and then everything fell apart.
Yeah.
I don't think it was like that. I don't think so. And that's the thing too with Serena and I is that I struggle sometimes to see it, and she sees it way better than I do.
Yeah.
About it, and she knows that this one thing isn't going to hurt us. It's just a chip on the shoulder, right? But we've at least addressed it. We've communicated about it. It wasn't swept under the rug for it to be an issue later. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But taking that away from the relationship mindset, I think that's important to me with her, for example.
Yeah.
Because I think I share that too in the same perspective for the care and love that I have, for example, for my mom. And like I said earlier, I think we treat everything separately. Like how I said earlier too, I treat everything very separate. How I treat my friends. Yeah. I have a different level of how far I can take it and how what's the bottom. Yeah. That's the end, right?
Well, each relationship is different as it should be from another, just because each relationship involves somebody different.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like for example, how I treat you and Alex is different how I treat.
I don't know, man. Somebody slipped something in somebody's DM and I wasn't involved, so I don't know. I mean, I ain't trying to name no name, but that was between y'all two. I didn't get no message in my DM. But moving on, we can talk about that another time. You know what I mean? I just thought I'd bring it up. You know, you never miss the right opportunity to bring something up.
Oh, someone said something. Oh, I want to know what happened.
I have no idea what Tim's talking about.
I don't know what Tim's talking about either. I'm in the dust here, bro. Somebody be leaking.
I'm a screenshot. No. All I remember, again, I'm not trying to name no name. All I remember was Alex trying to tell you to check your DM, and I was in that DM. I'm not trying to name no names, you know what I mean?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
No, it was nothing important that was related. No.
I'm just messing with you guys.
I'm like, damn, Alex, what do we got going on?
I'm curious too.
Yeah, I know. No, but I the thing is, I'm kind of grateful for this conversation, Tim. Funny enough, because today has been a really good day for it, because one, religiously today is Good Friday. I'm a Catholic. I'm quite dedicated Roman Catholic, so I spend a lot of my time today with spiritual reflection, right?
Yeah.
And I think about how today Serena and I had a pretty big discussion about just being more transparent with one another.
It's important in a relationship.
It's extremely important. And now to
any relationship.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Even with us.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm pretty upfront with you guys about shit.
Oh, I don't know, Tim.
Huh? I mean, I'm practically almost naked every time y'all come over.
Oh.
I mean, and you know, I'm just saying.
Tim's lying.
It's not because I'm trying to, do anything. I'm just trying to be transparent. What you see is what you get.
Saturday night conversations. We'll leave it there. But no, I think it's important that we're having this conversation, because it's so valuable to take note of. Because for me, before Gus was born, before Serena and I even got married, I had to work out so many of my own personal kinks to realize the emotional intelligence, like understanding that, like just not just trying to fix myself.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I needed to go back and try to rip Band-Aids off and stuff like that. I needed to fix myself. No, understand myself so that I could, in the future, prevent myself from doing things that I used to do, for example, right?
Yeah, because pulling the Band-Aids off won't do anything.
No, yeah. Looking at the past, I think looking at the past, you can learn from it.
Yeah.
And be better. But
that's the key.
You can't go back.
There's no way back. You go back. Pulling the Band-Aids off without understanding why you're pulling them off is not going to keep you from having to put the band-aids back on in the future. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying?
Exactly.
So you
And
gotta,
the same thing.
once you take the band-aids off, you gotta understand, like, okay, what do I need to do to not have to put this
like-
band-aid back on?
And it's the same thing. This
Yeah.
all this applies to, you know, we talk about the friendships and relationships. Like
Yeah.
I think those things are so important too, because it defines a lot of who we are, right?
Mhm.
Like, I mean, for example, Tim, you and I wouldn't have this friendship. You and I wouldn't, you know, besides motorcycles. Motorcycles is one thing,
Yeah.
but I think you and I wouldn't be able to have this podcast. You and I wouldn't be able to have all the
You know what's funny?
numerous amount of
We
conversations.
both ride, but you and I never really talk about riding.
No,
and we
I
don't.
think-
We haven't even been on the road together more than once. Well,
Well,
the
we
one time
gotta-
you came over here, the
Oh,
first
yeah.
time he came over here, he brought a whole bunch of issues.
Okay,
I was like, yo, like, this is like
it
my-
was just a coolant issue,
Yeah.
and then I got it fixed. but track time.
Yeah.
Tim and I have had some track time for sure.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying though, right? I mean, and we don't really talk about motorcycle because
We don't.
we connect on other things.
Yeah, way more intensely.
Meaningful, like I guess other things that are deeper than motorcycle. I
Yeah.
guess,
We-
right?
we both love it. We both
Yeah,
love
yeah,
riding. I
yeah.
mean, Alex even here too. Just to put that in, Alex loves riding too. We
Yeah.
all have a love for riding,
Yeah,
but I think we all share something. all
Alex
different, too.
thinks I don't know how to ride. It hurts my feelings. I try my best, man.
Hey, you're like the first one I asked for advice. How to ride, man.
I only give Alex bad advice, guys. I mean,
Yeah,
know.
that's why I'm so slow, because it's all Tim's advice.
I don't know.
Look, Alex said, "How can I go faster?" Just go faster. What do you mean?
You crashed, go faster. That's what Tim's mindset is. Okay. You crashed, you're soft. You should have took that quarter better. Where's that body position?
Man. Yeah, well, you know, I think I say that, you know, just to be funny, but I think a big part of it is that you gotta get over your fear.
Yeah.
You gotta get over your fear. And I think that's a big part, not only with riding motorcycle, but like
this
with
conversation.
being emotionally intelligent too, because your fear of letting somebody know your boundaries, right? Your fear of taking the actions that might be in disagreement with other people's view, but it's the right actions for you to take,
Yeah,
right?
You try to sugarcoat it.
Yeah.
You try to beat around the bushes. Like, you know,
Dude.
the typical saying, like those are things that like
Yeah.
drive everything down.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, it sounds nice in the moment,
Yeah.
but once you get past that,
Yeah.
everything is like downhill, man.
Yeah.
Every little thing that you try to sugarcoat goes
Yeah.
downhill.
And I think for the most part, being emotionally intelligent is easy when it comes to dealing with people such as friend and family member. It's a whole different level when it comes to your love life.
Yeah.
Your significant other, and maybe, yeah, you know what, we've gone a long time. We'll get back to that. Maybe that we do a second part of the emotional intelligence when it comes to romantic relationship.
I like
Because I'll tell you guys this, right? People ask me if I would be able to tell the person that I'm dating whether or not I'm physically attracted to her, and I would say yes. I have no problem with letting her know how important it is that I have to be physically attracted to her. Most people are uncomfortable with doing that. And again, we saved this for part 2. That's just kind of like
just a sneak peek.
yes, a sneak peek, right?
Into the next episode.
Yeah, man. But you know, being emotionally intelligent, I think the biggest and the most important step is to be aware of your emotions. To be aware of
your own limits.
Yeah.
Your own personal.
And if I can add anything, man, like if I can add anything to it, out of the 4 pillars, if I can add anything to it, I would say that to be emotionally intelligent is to not have any expectations for other people other than your own.
Yeah.
Because the moment you expect somebody to do something to your preference, to your liking, to please you.
You will always be disappointed.
Yeah.
You will always be disappointed.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Because you set the bar here.
Yes.
But they're only gonna meet you here.
Yep. And then you know,
what I
a
mean?
big
Like,
part of you getting pissed off, you getting disappointed, is because of your own expectation that you set for that person and for yourself.
yeah, exactly.
And you really, you know, I mean, it's okay to have expectation for yourself, but it's unfair, and it's not the smart thing to do to put that on somebody else.
Yeah, because maybe that person's having not the best of days, so
Yeah.
they won't get.
And
they
you
won't
can't
get
expect somebody else to be doing things to make you happy. You are responsible for making yourself happy.
No, you.
I make you happy, Brian. It's you're happy.
All
you
right,
know,
I think we can end it there.
what?
I think we can end it
What?
there.
What's wrong with
makes
that, man?
us happy. Tim makes
I
us happy.
speak on this, you know. I'm exercising one of the 4 pillars, okay, of my emotional intelligence ability, all right? I'm trying to, you know, understand where Brian is coming from. So as long as Brian is happy, I'm happy, okay? I live to make Brian happy.
That's a fact.
Just saying, Alex, don't be jealous. I mean, I appreciate the whiskey, but no, you know what? I'm happy, man. Like, I'm happy to see you guys happy.
Yeah.
You
me
know,
too.
that's me, man. Like, that's, you know, y'all know I just be talking. I be talking a lot of shit. I love talking shit. I talk shit to all the guys. I talk shit to everybody that I care about, that I feel comfortable with, that I have relationships with. Like, if you really understand me, dude, like, if I'm not talking shit to you, that means
It's not going well.
I'm not comfortable
It's not
with you.
going-
I don't
exactly.
trust you, and I just don't know who you are.
You know, I just want to add last little quick statement, because for me at work, at the firehouse, we all talk smack to one another, and even we've all talked about it. If we don't like somebody, their name barely gets brought up at the table.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
you know that you aren't really,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
you aren't a part of that.
Yeah.
I guess that you already know. You're like,
Yeah.
you know, I gotta stand off of that.
Yeah.
But when they talk shit with you and you talk shit back, like, it's a collective.
It
You start to notice
it
that.
has a lot to do with trust.
Yeah.
The trust that you have for that person.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
is important. So yeah, I mean, man, good conversation. We let's save
The rest for
part 2.
I like that.
And we'll start with, you know, your romantic relationship and the DMs that y'all been sent. Oh wait, I'm sorry. Just your relationship. My bad.
That's all I'm gonna hear about for the next week now.
Look,
I
Tim.
forget. You know?
Look, Tim. If you weren't included in it, it doesn't mean that you know, aren't special or anything.
I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Kind of hurt my feelings, you know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to maintain control of my emotions, man, but they be doing things that's got me questioning, you know.
He's questioning his masculinity. Tim, we already told you it's okay to question it.
Oh man, that's nice, man. Well, thanks, guys.
Yeah,
Man, I love that we can get together once a week and talk about shit.
I love the conversations.
Yes, and I enjoy our last episode because we kind of let loose and just kind of like talk about random stuff, had a little bit of fun. But you know, rest assured, guys, like I know I can speak for not only me but Brian and Alex. Like, we always trying to be better.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of like unspoken. I see that in you and I see that in Alex. You know what I mean? Yeah. So this is the kind of conversation that I enjoy, and this is the kind of conversation that I like to share with people. And this is the kind of conversation that I think is important not only for us to have as Vietnamese men, because ultimately we didn't talk about this kind of stuff with our dad, right?
Mm-hmm.
We didn't talk about this kind of stuff with our parents, and even if you were not only because of the traditions, but even when you in America, you know, we all of us are American, right? I mean, we only can, you know, like we only
Like express.
we only keep certain Vietnamese traditions,
Yeah.
but for the most part, we're very Americanized, right?
Yeah.
Let's just put it that way. Meaning, like, we want to talk about what we're doing. We don't mind to make assessment of our own actions, and we don't mind to get in touch with our emotions.
Yeah.
But that
absolutely.
doesn't mean that everybody else is doing the same thing, whether they're Vietnamese or American, you know. And I'm talking about, when I say American, I'm including everybody, like Caucasian, Black, you know, Hispanic, or whatever, or just for a lot of guys, period.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah.
I think a
Yeah.
lot of us. I know we all are born differently, different cultures, different traditions. But at the end of the day, I think there is somewhat, like we talked about our last podcast, our last episode was masculinity, and we
Yeah.
all share something from that.
Yes, and
So-
just to remind y'all, if you didn't miss it, if you didn't see it last time, I strongly believe, and I know Brian believe in the same thing, because this is why a lot of time when we make quote unquote, you know, like homo, or is it, no, it's not yeah, no, gay jokes.
gay jokes.
Okay, gay jokes. Okay, we comfortable with ourselves. We know who we are. We know what we do.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And what we say to each other, that's out of love, that's out of respect, and that's out of trust. And we might, you know, make you feel comfortable, but that's just who we are, and that's what we do. And we are totally confident with, you know,
Who we are and
our
what we
feelings
do.
and our emotions, and we're not afraid to, express that.
Yeah.
And ultimately, what we do is we make each other laugh, we make each other happy, and I think that's the most important part
It
of
is.
our relationship
Absolutely.
with each other. You know what I mean? So let's save the rest for the next episode, man. Let's go back. But yeah, I would really, really love to
Bring
talk
it all around
about
with romantic
emotional,
relationships.
like emotional intelligence when it comes to your romantic relationship. Because I might have to put my sunglasses back on for that topic. It's gonna
I'm
be
bringing
hot.
mine, and when that comes up,
Yeah,
I'll for sure bring mine for sure.
You know, it might not be hot for us, but it's gonna it's gonna be generating some heat with other people. But anyway, good conversation.
yeah.
Anything else you want to add?
No, I think that's it. I appreciate everyone for tuning in. Thanks
Yeah.
for coming in to
Yeah,
watch our show
absolutely.
and watch our banter. But yeah, hopefully you come back around for our next episode. Make sure to like and subscribe.
Yeah.
We do appreciate all your viewerships, and even after the recording, and for those who didn't make the recording and are watching this post and watching just the replay, still appreciate you taking the time to listen to us talk.
Yeah.
Huge shout out to Alex for bringing the bottle of whiskey.
Yeah. Did you
and,
finish your? Do you want more? Would you like more? Okay. Well, you know, when this episode is over, I'll make sure to pour Alex another shot, guys. A double shot, even. Yeah. No. I'm in agreement with Brian. Thank you so much, man. This is
7 episodes, Tim. It's a long time coming, and we
Yeah.
all
all right.
great.
See y'all next time. Thank you for tuning in. Have a good night. Enjoy your weekend. Show love to the people that you care about. Show hate. Wait, no.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Hey, sometimes hate is necessary. It's a balancing act.
Love
right?
everybody.
You gotta hate to know what love means, right? And you know, you gotta have love to appreciate the hate. But anyway, have a good night, guys. See you guys next week.
Until next time.
Thank you.
All right.
Hey.
Sweet.